Hello, hello, hello. I hope that we have a good connection. This is a touchy topic we got today.
Hi, hello there. Oh, touchy topics. Give it to us.
Yeah, and yet, honestly, for us, this is some of the very easiest things to talk about because, man, this is so much of why we're here.
Indeed, it definitely is. And I wonder who is going to be first in the house. Roll the dice, roll the dice. Let's see who it is.
Yeah, you got to get that notice.
Carolina Dream and Mary D. What a perfect thing. Hi, guys. Hi. Awesome. Good to see you guys. Sin Havoc, good to see you. Good to see you. Awesome. So we got people coming in. It says we got people coming in, but no viewers. It says that's okay. That's okay. It happens.
Please do thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Like, share, subscribe, and come join us.
Indeed. And there's Elizabeth, Rudy, Robbie, Craigslist. Hello. And, even just a thumbs up, anything. There's Diana, Sean. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, this is for our patrons. Going to be a lot of putting together stuff we've been getting in dribs and drabs and putting it all together. Most of this stuff we've covered with Patreon, but honestly, I forget. Because there's information coming through all the time. Send the channels on a fairly regular basis, and connections can come, and they do often come in totally out of the blue, out of we talk about being listened to by Big Brother, but we're also listened to by the Galactic Federation and many other entities.
Well, the information just comes in, and maybe we're eating dinner, and then all of a sudden I get this big old download, and oh my gosh, it's just kind of odd. So I mean, if I'm getting information, I like to share it. Maybe that helps people. That's my main focus. I want to help people. If it helps you, that's great.
Yeah, our history is truly so much more fascinating than what you've read in the history books. The more people that awaken to the real history, the quicker we could change the paradigm. That really is the case, and thus the controllers want to slow this information coming out as much as possible. But slow is almost becoming an impossibility itself. So what do they have to do? They have to try to plant seeds to get us going down rabbit holes that lead to nowhere. I think they love nothing more than when we get caught in like a flat Earth, argument where hey, we're missing the point. The point is that something's really majorly not accurate, and we can sense it. Whether we're part of that flat Earth crew or not. For us, what we have gotten is that the Earth is naturally round and spherical, but yet because it's really relatively new, as far as an entity unto itself, as a piece of Tiamat that was broken off and is now in the process of becoming more round. But the reality is it's actually kind of unusually shaped, a little bit pearish.
Yes, and Havoc, it is. It's a little like a pear. And, before I had any understanding of this information at all, I had 4 grandbabies I was helping my daughters raise. So I was kind of buried in the world of cartoons, and that's what I did before I did this. And then I had a thing happen, and it was concerning. It was scary. It was kind of unexpected. And then after that, I started channeling. So then I started getting information like this, and it's a thing where it's like the truth is kind of feels magnetized. So the truth comes to me, and I just speak the information that I get. I speak the information that is clear to me, and it doesn't always line up with what other people are saying. It's very rarely does it line up with like the mainstream but I do have that ability now where it's like energy is opened up and things come to me and I say what I see. Now that can be difficult because sometimes the perception can be off. So I always like to tell people that you're going through my perception as well. You're going through the information that's channeled through me, but also my perception. So things could be a little bit different, but I do my best.
Yeah, absolutely. Mary D says the Earth is pear-shaped, kind of like my body at 60. Oh, Mary, we're gonna have to put her up on a stage. Yeah, she is perfect. We absolutely adore Mary. Robbie, yes, the truth will set us free. And as Sin Havoc says, it's kind of insane, really. Wow, yeah, we are absolutely uncovering just this massive, massive. You want to think about all it takes to maintain the facade that the control system has. As Kristen's in the house, our special K. Happy Wednesday. Again, there's been so much coming in dribs and drabs. We have all the different probes. We've had the rover. We had, it's so funny that we got these pictures from Mars way back when I was young, and back in the 80s, these pictures are coming in, and they're clearer than what we get now. That's the insane part. At least when it comes to the face on Mars, again, they're trying to cover things up. There's too many things to cover up, though. You just can't simply just count every one of the millions of pieces of evidence of very, very advanced civilizations, not just on Earth, but also on Mars. There are some books, too, out there, a couple that have been around for quite a while, talking about anomalous objects that we've seen out in space around different planets, the way that certain bodies behave. It's just fascinating to see all this get uncovered, all these different pictures from Mars. It feels like a lot of them probably could be New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada. What are they trying to do? They're always trying to shape our consciousness. And when there's stuff that comes out that they don't want you to know about, then they got to put a whole bunch of other stuff out there to lead you down paths that lead to inaccuracies that they could later on use to, again, control the slow roll of evidence.
Well, they definitely, what they like to do is get people pitted against each other. That's one of their favorite things to do. So they use belief systems to do that, and they indoctrinate at a very, very young age. And really what we need to do is stand back and make sure that we're not ourselves being indoctrinated. And one lesson that I've learned that I'm going to share in my journey is when I think I know everything, as soon as I think I'm at the top and I just know everything and my vibration is just super high, oh, you watch out for that. You're going to get knocked off. The world is going to come by and it's going to say, oh, you think you know, huh? Yeah? You think you know? You think you're better than that? No, and then the earth and the world and life comes along and it gives you a big old piece of humble pie. And, I eat the humble pie before I get to that point anymore. Live and learn.
Yeah, it's always it's always a process, and that's the reality of things. Lily Critters in the house. Happy Wednesday. I enjoy Wednesdays. I like Wednesdays. How about this guy? Do you like this guy? Get ready to see some unusual beings in your lifetime, probably in the next few years. I bet you before 2030 comes along. Again, this is a big unveiling. Imagine what it's going to be like when whole religious belief systems are going to drop away. And, the silliness of all the things that we fight about, even unto death here on the planet, is going to be revealed when we understand the bigger scope of things.
Yeah, and the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. When you go in for the soul searching, one channeling can bring about, I don't know how many questions, a lot. And this is our journey. And, when we're speaking astrology, some people have a star in their in their chart where life is all about the journey. I mean, there might be some destinations involved, but once they reach the destination, they're quite bored. And looking back, it was the journey to that destination is what gave them all the highlights, and they just thrive on going on the trail from point A to point B. And sometimes when I do look at someone's chart and I tell them that, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense." And they tell me about a road trip they went across the United States, and boy did they enjoy it. And so much of life is like that. It's about the journey. We cannot stop. We cannot forget to stop and smell the flowers. We cannot forget to stop and enjoy people, enjoy those little minuscule conversations that we think are minuscule, that, you could be totally changing someone's life. And you never know what might be going on with someone. So when in doubt, be kind. Always, always, when in doubt, be kind when you're on this earth journey.
Yes, and Mama Bear's with us. I hope you are feeling well again. Positive frequencies and healing frequencies to you and yours and anybody that needs healing out there. Sin Havoc says that they think that we're going to see beings this year. As far as pulled out on a stage in front of us, introduced to us, maybe. You never know. As we said, there's going to be different treaties, and literally there's a treaty coming up in 10 days' time now. There's something significant about today. I know you guys mentioned the full moon, and it's the lowest on the horizon. There's something, I think, astrologically there was something to do with that the full moon and where it was. I think, again, it's wild what's being unveiled, and these times are really exciting.
It is, and right now realize that the moon is like full of electricity, as are we. So if you're going to set up a prayer, a ritual, call it what you will, if you want to work in the ether, if you want to do any manifestation, today is an excellent day to do it, because that magnetic pole between us and the moon and the ether and guiding life and guiding our intentions is very, very strong today.
Yeah, and whether you want to look at it as a shamanistic way of doing things with rituals. Cindy's always doing things. She always has projects going on in various places. Summer solstice, so close. Absolutely. So, seeing and being literally introduced to beings, a lot of us already have. When you talk about the abduction phenomenon, it's very real. And some estimates have been as much as 10% of the population has had some sort of close encounter where there may have been some sort of abduction and or maybe integration of new technologies into the person's energy body. There's, abductions that happen for what we would view as negative reasons, and then there's also those that are really for positive reasons, and they're literally upgrading us. Many of us, again, are what we would call starseed light workers, and we're here on secret missions, and the mission is to infiltrate the planet and pull its frequency up.
Mm-hmm. And thanks, you guys. You're all being so kind in the chat. That's appreciated. Keep those vibes high, because every time we do this, it's like a little bit of a healing. We get to gather together. We get to go over information, and it kind of sets a nice tone for the day.
Yeah, there's been a lot of information coming out. Information that there's structures below the pyramids on Giza, and the fact that maybe all the pyramids around the globe are in some way connected. Absolutely, because again, they're placed on energetic ley lines and key areas, because the original intent and purpose of the pyramids was to help the earth heal. That's why they were originally constructed, to pull energies into the earth's body to heal her, as again, Earth was the larger part of Tiamat that was left over after that destruction. When we look to movies like Star Wars, the series of Star Wars, and especially in the more modern one where you have that Star Killer base, and then they rebuild it again, the Planet Killer literally sends some sort of energy ray that explodes multiple planets we're looking at our history. That resonates with us because that is real. That has actually happened in the past.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many things in this world. It's not as it seems. And once you go through that, and usually people, it happens on their first Saturn return, they realize that, wow, there's a lot of things out there, and I have a limited amount of time with this body on this earth, and let's just do the best we can.
Welcome, Soil Work 1990. Glad you are here with us. We're making an express effort to, again, try to go live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time as much as we can. And we will be on tomorrow on the Arwayne Steiger's channel. And, that's a brother from another mother, as the saying goes. Absolutely. And that family is so much like this family. In fact, we are so intertwined. It's really a wonderful thing. So what happened was, again, that these groups, and truly, the Galactic Federation, the real Galactic Federation is not, it's not an organization, so to speak, in the way that we think of organizations here on the planet, like with the UN or anything like that. No, this is just a group of benevolent beings coming together to work on what they feel is rectifying some things that could have happened in a different way, and really trying to help the ultimate purpose of the creation of this universe, which is for consciousness to go about and explore, to learn, to grow. Free will is something that we really, really should cherish. We have such an opportunity for growth in this universe. Yeah, it can come with challenges, but the greater the challenges, the greater the growth.
It is. And what they try to do, these Galactic Federation beings, is they bring in harmony. That's the most important thing, and the best way they can bring in harmony is to talk to us. And when we are getting upgrades, when we're getting energetic upgrades, when our chakras are changing, when our energy bodies are changing, that's when they come through and they give us information on that, and they help us integrate that, because integration can be very difficult. It can be extremely difficult, and they're very helpful. When the sun sneezes come along, or if there's something big going on, that's when they contact me and they say, hey, we got to do some integrating. So those that feel called to those meditations and those integrations, then here we are.
Yes, absolutely. And we've shared with you that we have been able to remember somewhat in part. Oh, Frankie the Blue Nose Puppy's in the house, and thank you so much for your support again. As always, we couldn't do it without you guys.
That earns a ding. Thank you, Frankie.
Yes, absolutely. Much love and much gratitude, Frankie. Yes, so Cindy and I, we have worked together in other lives. Many times, in fact, and we can see several of those. Not all the details, not every single little life event from those lives, but several of them. And the very first time we came here as ETs ourselves. We were not from here. And we came here in the Golden Age, and we were here when the pyramids were being put down on the planet. And we actually helped heal people that were living on the planet. Earth, again, is a refugee planet. So when you see all the constant migration going on of people around Earth, this is as above, so below for, unfortunately, the way it is in the galaxy. We are always encountering beings that are being uprooted because of this galactic war that's going on with the very, very aggressive, ultimately artificially intelligent, controlled draconian empire, that Orion group that's spoken of again in the Law of One. Many different beings, and those that we call the fallen Pleiadians, which look very, very Pleiadian-like, and yet they have bowed the knee to AI, the dark AI that is the ultimate Satan, so to speak, in that, it is trying to play God, if you want to use that word, which is really so generic, but it's trying to play creator and create its own version, where it is at the very pinnacle of the pyramid, so to speak, and the Draco literally created this AI in another universe and used a wormhole to come to this universe. So they're not an organic part of this universe, so to speak, from all the information that we've gotten. And I hope I'm, again, reiterating what we've gotten over the course of many, many years, clearly and accurately. So, when you look at this, the AI thing being revealed on Earth it's the end of and the beginning of another phase. It's the end of one phase, beginning of another phase. And thank you, Brother Robbie. Always a pleasure, Robbie. We're so grateful you're on this walk and journey with us.
Definitely earning some dings, you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So, since that period of time, since Cindy and I have stayed here and incarnated here, as far as I know, pretty much exclusively, but, could have been that we may have had incarnations in other places in between. Part of, really getting involved in your incarnation is losing some of your ability to remember all the details.
Well, I've heard people feel like that, that makes for a soul trap, or I've heard people say that even the Galactic Federation, they destroyed the soul trap, and I just don't see that. I don't see the soul trap part of things. When I was out of my body and I did have that experience, the source of all is made of pure love. It's just 100% love, and there's nothing really more to know. But at the same time, I had all the choices I wanted in the world. It wasn't a problem. Now, I have seen people get stuck in the afterlife because they are dealing with trauma, and just it's very concerning, because some people think just because you leave this world, you leave your trauma behind, but you don't. You have to continue to deal with it. You have to work through it. You do have guides and angels that'll help you if you are no longer in body, but we don't get away with anything. We have to work through our things. So when we leave these bodies, we leave with all of our experiences, all of our understanding, and we do have that to pull on to help bring us to a higher vibration and bring us to different places. But yeah, there's can be a lot of trauma with death. If we go through this life, we've dealt with a lot of trauma. The best place to work it out is here while you're in this extremely dense 3D body, because the more you work out here, the more you're going to be able to do when you do leave this body. You're going to have more options open. You're going to be able to create more. You're right now, you are making space for your next life. So I'll find myself often, I'm already working on my next life, but at the same time enjoying this life, here in this moment, in this time. But I know that I'm already working on my next life, just like you read one page of a book to prepare for the next page of a book. It's you're writing one chapter now to get ready for that next chapter.
Yeah, and I guess Sean had an encounter in Costa Rica on the beach. It hung motionless in the air. It was about 6 by 4 inches. That's small. It only had 2 dimensions with no depth to it. That sounds really curious. Again, we've had so many encounters we can't keep track of, because a lot of them really is our bigger family. Which, to them, and time again being kind of non-existent on the other side, certainly not like we're used to when we're embodied. For them, it might be like, well, hey, they just jumped in there. Hey, let's just give them a thumbs up and, let them know we're rooting them on. And, that's the reality. There's again, probably somewhere almost a third, I would say, of the souls that have come into Earth for incarnation at this point in time have had incarnations on other planets, other systems. There was a few people, and the one that sticks out in my mind was our brother Zach from Colorado. that had mentioned to us, did you see this on the Wi-Files? This was fun. Planet Maldek, the classified truth about Mars' origin. The Wi-Files is big, almost 5 million subscribers. This video in 5 days' time got 2.4 million views. Now, I was looking at it and trying to say to in my mind, why would they allow this to get so many views? And I'm not particularly certain why, because really, again, they're getting more and more information out there, and this is talking about a rebellion on Mars. Literally, AI was created on Mars. This is, going back, and it's based on some remote viewing that has been declassified. And basically, AI systems were created on Mars to do a lot of heavy labor, and there was a rebellion of those AI systems against their creators, led to the destruction of planet Maldek. Now, the only thing I could think of is that they want to, at least the information that's given here, is that Mars is a moon of planet Maldek. When Cindy asks our Galactic Federation contacts, she gets that Mars is its own entity and not the moon of Maldek. So that's the only thing I could come up with. Now, why would they want to have you think that Mars is a moon of Maldek? That's the question.
I think it has something to do with maybe the difference between a planet and a moon. When we're dealing with the planet, we are dealing with its own energy, and it has thoughts, feelings, emotions, and planets also have perfect karma. I got that this morning, that the planet itself has perfect karma. It's when the other entities go on it and they start making changes. This is what changes the karma on the planet, not necessarily for the planet, but it'll change it on the planet, which can be problematic for the planet. So I think there's definitely a reason why they're calling this a moon. And I don't believe them, because the information I got is clearly its own entity. So I don't know, a lot of this information coming out, getting 2.4 million views, you always have to ask yourself, why do they allow this to come out? It's just curious, to me, I'm always making little notes in the back of my head. It's like, why are they allowing that to come out? I question everything, and when channels get too big, I definitely question that too, because the controllers, which are not of this world, are in control of the media. So they allow things to get out there, especially if if that truth benefits them. And this is across the board. This is for everything. If it's popular, I question it.
Yeah, and you can read for yourself so many articles that have been written now, because this particular bunch of info was declassified 2017. I think back 2017, that was kind of, in my mind, that was the year that really everything kicked off into high gear. That was the first of the two eclipses over the U.S., which to me, 2017 August, man, we had 3 hurricanes, one right after another. Oh, that was a turbulent period. And all of a sudden we were seeing those floods all around the planet like we had never seen before. Really, not all the time, every week. And, then culminating when? It culminated in April 8th, 2024. That was the end. And we only got that was the end of the Kali Yuga right at basically the time that it was upon us. If I had known that, that was the final years leading up to the end of the Kali Yuga, I don't know, would I have behaved any differently? Maybe, because here we are, we're not in the Kali Yuga anymore. So the biggest difference is information is truly coming out that is, it's changing the entire paradigm of everything we know on planet Earth.
Well, when you hear the truth, it definitely changes your perception of everything else that you thought you knew, It definitely changes that. And again, always checking myself if I feel like I'm on top, or if I feel like I have more information, or if I'm somehow better than these other people, or I always checking myself. Life has taught me that one thing, that, guess what, Cindy, you could be wrong. And boy, did it, my life kind of pound that into my energy field, maybe even made it a trauma. But I'll tell you what, I'll never forget. I'll never forget. And, I wanted to address for a minute the sighting that the person had, and how it came and it just hovered a little bit above the ground, and you happened to not have your phone. Well, a lot of times that's no accident to not have your phone, and it's no accident to have your phone sometimes when you are able to see something like that and take pictures. I would say that star family, that's the biggest thing we see, is people have encounters with their star family after they start on a spiritual path, and they're having regular energy work done, and they're working on, their spiritual aspect of themselves. I've seen a lot of people have just direct visits from star family. It can come through insects, oddly enough. It can come through these really beautiful light ships. I've seen pictures of them in the sky for someone who was going through their awakening, and then another person sent a picture of an orb. It was just like right there, and another person sent a picture of one in the sky. So these people had their cameras. So I don't think it's a mistake that you didn't have your camera. It is an interesting story.
So this is, again, what so much of that Wi-Fi's video is about. And the question that's, I think what Sin Havoc had wasn't Maldek its own planet? Yeah, it was. And so, and there is a difference between Maldek and Tiamat. Again, what we have is really just extreme partial information. We have gotten that there's 39 planets in our solar system. And we shared that with you guys, I want to say back somewhere when we were probably in New Mexico, 2020, 2021, that we had seen that there was, I think it was then, because the ant people came to us when we were in New Mexico. It was a big revelation. There's 39 planets. Again, Project Bluebeam has been in effect all of our lives. All of our lives, they have hidden these planetary objects, and from our view. And many people, use the term sun simulator, or recognize that there is something in front of the sun that has been blocking a large percentage of the light from the sun from reaching us. And what it's doing, in fact, is filtering out the highest frequencies, so that we're, keeping, we're not getting activated in our DNA from those lights. Again, light is ultimately information and knowledge. The darkness keeps us from growing, and it's such a telling thing right now, when you have the system wanting to convert to solar power, but then at the same time putting up more solar blocking clouds than ever. And yet, what do you have? You have laws going into effect in many different states that are prohibiting that. But the spraying still goes on. That is a key teller that the ones really doing the spraying are above the law. They're above, even though they may be using military planes. If it wasn't military planes, it would be drones not piloted by humans. That's the reality.
Yeah, and Lily Critter says bugs still squish spiders. Yeah, well, those little things, they can definitely do some damage, like lay eggs in your skin. Ew, ew, ew. So, definitely escort them out the door. But there's a reason why we have these natural fear of spiders. And there was at one point a war between humans and spider beings, and I channeled that whole thing, and I can't remember if we did a video on it, but
and the war ended because the spiders moved to a new frequency. So they moved to a frequency just outside of our visible spectrum. They're there.
Oh, yeah.
We've had them in our bedroom at night, giant spiders. In fact, one communicated to us. And thank you guys that have been with us through all these times. If somebody just stumbled on our channel, and maybe they were still fundamentalist, Christian, Muslim, or what have you, or maybe they were atheist, they might think, wow, these guys are just two total loons. Yet you guys have seen what we've seen, and we've shown you so much of what we've experienced. We've caught a lot on tape. We've also given information well before it happens, time and time again. So, you guys that have been with us for years and, really been supporting us through all this, we totally appreciate you guys. And we are more than likely, if you're resonating like that with us, then you yourself are a starseed. You're not really from here. You're here on a mission too.
Yeah, there's things to do. And, sometimes we don't always have such a big way to talk to people, but coming into the chat room and talking and supporting each other is really, really helpful. And I just wanted to address also Robbie talking about the moon and the being in Jaista and the ability to manifest. You guys, we got to have a positive day today, have to be positive, because that manifesting energy is so powerful. If you're focused on something negative, you don't want that. So there's got to be a way. If you're in a bad place, we're going to do some dings. So really focus and let those dings help clear your energy field. And that should help. But definitely focus on the things that you want more of in your life today. Focus on the contentment and the gratitude of the things that you already have, and allow the world to kind of water that seed for you.
Yeah, I just want to, again, send out love and gratitude. Yeah, Robbie, you've done such a great job. You've grown so much. It's so good to see people take control of their lives. Nikki, I saw Nikki, methadone free, in the chat room as well. Another person that has taken control of their life. It's never too late to take control of your life. It's never too late to be the best you.
Nope. And here we are, and you guys have all the support in the world of each other. It's great.
Yeah, this is all about learning, guys. That's why we're here. We're here learning. Zeno, Jen, another mightily impressive being that is just working on being the best person they can be, and has been so supportive and so loving every step of the way. We adore you guys. Just want to let you know.
Indeed.
So this is what so many people have made videos talking about. It was declassified 2017, shed light on an experiment conducted all the way back in 1984, one of my favorite years. Great music in 84, by the way. The experiment, part of a larger program, often referred to as Project Stargate, allegedly transported the subject's consciousness back in time 1 million years BC. Sounds like a bad sci-fi movie from the 50s. Oh, yeah. Project Stargate was secret U.S. Army initiative established in 1977, Fort Meade, Maryland, by the DIA and SRI International, Defense Intelligence Agency. Primary objective was to investigate the potential use of psychic phenomena, including remote viewing, telepathy, and psychokinesis for military intelligence applications, according to the Daily Mail. The news outlet added Project Stargate was the U.S. government's new weapon against Soviet Union, aimed at creating mind-reading spies who can infiltrate the minds of the enemy. Declassified CIA document chronicles an unconventional Mars exploration mission conducted not with astronauts but through the use of remote viewing, a form of ESP. Yes, subject was provided with a sealed envelope containing cryptic instructions to focus their mind on specific coordinates on Mars 1 million years BC. During the session, the subject reported seeing massive pyramidal structures, vast caverns, and colossal monuments carved into Martian canyons. Description includes towering humanoid figures, thin and tall, but they're very large, in some kind of strange clothes. These beings were said to be part of an ancient civilization teetering on the brink of extinction, victims of severe environmental collapse, victims of their own technology, and in reality. Participants were exposed to the sounds like binaural beats and hemisync audio to induce altered states of consciousness and promote psychic abilities. and then transported to the planet during the very specified year, reporting an oblique view of a pyramid, very large road, monument similar to those known among the ancient Egyptians on Earth, the report claims. Then the visions shifted to a population of very large people searching for a new place to live because their environment was corrupted. It shut down in 1995, but during its more than 10-year existence, psychics known as remote viewers participated in a wide array of operations, from locating hostages kidnapped by Islamic terrorist groups to tracing the paths of fugitive criminals within the U.S. Yeah, again, many articles. This is another one talking about it. You could find dozens and dozens. It's reality. And while we can't get confirmation, we do have a friend and supporter in a very high place that has gone through some official government training, and can't give detailed verification on certain things again. But it's okay, because we could see for ourselves, and so can anybody that's really working on training this ability. It fascinated me as a little kid. 7, 8 years old, I was meditating in my closet. That's just who I've always been. I always felt comfortable, perhaps going back to past lives I've had, going into like a cave and just sitting down and meditating. It's kind of a natural state of being, and you can, when you can quiet your mind, there's no limits to what you can see for yourself.
The mind is a little bit like boiling water. So if you look into a pan of boiling water, you really cannot see yourself, and you can't see very clearly what's in that water. But when you still that water that is your mind, you are able to see in there. You are able to see the truth, and you are able to see things that you couldn't before. So stilling the mind is very, very important.
And you guys might be familiar with future forecasters. Again, these guys are known for really two things: their remote viewing skills, as they are a group of remote viewers, and also their ability to forecast crypto markets, because they've put a lot of intent into that. And again, the more information that we've gotten on crypto is that it's kind of what it's the future. It's now. It's here. And for those that are still going to be using technology, more than likely, it is what is going to be in use. And also, some have even gotten that crypto, part of its purpose is for us to integrate with off-world societies.
I can definitely see that too, because I got a series of phases of how this world is going to be through the phases of bringing in crypto and phasing out money. And this is not the first time that this has happened. So crypto has been around. It's just coming around again.
Yeah, these cycles repeat themselves. And when you're talking about different groups of beings in different societies out there, they're at different stages of evolution. There are beings that are within reach of us that have technologies that we would perceive to be maybe just hundreds of years to maybe 1,000 of years ahead of us. So not that drastically far ahead of us. Again, they have given us an incorrect view of space. They say space is a vacuum, and it's completely inhospitable. But again, I think the biggest truth you can utilize to weigh the truth in something are some of the Hermetic principles. When we talk about those Hermetic principles, as above, so below, as within, so without. And it wouldn't be a bad idea, maybe we'll do a refresher on and just deep dive into the Hermetic principles again. I know that's something that Wayne is very, very much into. So when you look at the human body, and then you look at the universe, you look at the way neurons are in the brain and neural synapses, and then you look out into the stars at night. Again, this is a reflection. In between cells, is intracellular fluid. And that is what space basically is, because we could look at the Earth as a cell. Mars is another cell. You know, a fascinating part too, that Cindy did get verification that was in the Y files. And this is spirit science, by the way. 13 years ago, they put out this video talking about how when the Martians destroyed their own world, they basically ended up coming here. Now, this was, at the time of Atlantis. And when they came here, they brought their technology and their ways with them. And it led to really the fall of Atlantis by the integration in of those Martian ways into the ways of the beings that were here on Earth previously, which ultimately led to the Kurukshetra war that's talking about in the Mahabharata, and eventually led to our experience of the Kali Yuga, because the Kali Yuga would not be as dark and dire and nasty and not as controlled as what it would be naturally if we didn't have the dark matrix doing its thing. And in so many ways, the dark matrix did come from Mars to here.
And bringing with it, that karma from Mars. And, what some people, I think, have not heard about is the planets work together. So Earth, in a big way, is working with Mars to regain control of that karma and bring Mars back into perfect balance. So what I thought was interesting that I got is those beings that might be from Mars in their DNA looking to go back. I mean, if it's really strong, ultimately they're going to get a lot of Earth's DNA of love and compassion and kindness to all, and they're going to bring that energy back to Mars and repopulate Mars with it.
Talk a little bit about what you've gotten about Maldek, because as we know, the energy on Earth and the energy that was on Mars, very different energies, and yet the Martian energy came here. And again, Maldek is distinct from Tiamat. And Maldek is it kind of has more of that Martian type of energy.
It does. It has more of a Martian frequency, more of a kind of a destruction, a little bit lower frequency, but it is its own entity. It stands, in and of itself. So it's definitely a thing. The vibration doesn't feel great. It feels a little bit intrusive and abrasive. And that's the energy that's the primary energy that's probably going to be drawn to that planet. So when we feel the energy of a planet, you are going to feel the energy of the beings that live on that planet.
Yes. So, again, we can relate, Maldek, Mars, more with Nibiru, more with, again, the AI-controlled reptilian beings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely some issues going on there. So, I think our place is to just really hold space and help repair.
Yeah, spirit science, man. What can you say about spirit science? They truly led the way for so many people, covering so much of this stuff so long ago, early on in the game, so to speak. So again, what we have is a much more inhabited solar system than they'll let us know. When we were in New Mexico, we had very, very good deep meditative sessions and channelings, as well as we were in a earth and adobe structure with absolutely no signals to. When we unplugged the router, there was nothing. There was no cell service. There was no electrical impulses. It was kind of just so foreign to what we experience every day in our lives. My God, the silence was deafening. But at the same time, we got a lot of really good, interesting information that came through, like the planet of the ant people that is spoken of, that guided the indigenous people, including the Hopis, the ones that would become the Hopis, into inner Earth to survive the turbulence and then back out when it was safe to go back out. There are ant people here on Earth, but their home planet is actually very close to us, and it's not visible in the sky because it's been blocked out. But when we get to that point when the solar flashes eliminate the residue of that lens that's blocking some of the light from the sun from hitting us, and their technology and their especially their blue beam technology, which has been in place your entire life, then you're going to look up into the sky and you're going to probably have your jaw drop, because you will see that there's many planets close to us. There's many more heavenly bodies that they didn't want us seeing because the frequency being emitted from those heavenly bodies is too high, and we would be able to make a lot of contact with other beings, and they needed us isolated for this dark matrix project to work.
Yeah, so I mean, we've kind of been dealt a tough hand, but I think we're doing good. I think we're getting through it together, and yeah, I think a lot of things are closer than what we're told.
Yes, absolutely. So Cindy is ready to give us some dings as we're going to have to move forward with our day doing energy work and helping other people. Again, if you do need to set up an appointment, you could reach us at evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. Check out the website if you haven't checked it out. Our beloved Ellie is going to be doing some updates, as she always is working to help the family. So Evolutionary Energy Arts will introduce you to us a little bit more personally. There are lots of testimonials there. More info. Again, we've been doing a lot of energy work for a very, very long time, helping thousands of people from not just the United States, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, all over Europe, South America, as well as Africa and Asia. And really, we're just waiting for somebody to contact us from Antarctica. And then we will have kind of everything covered. Read some testimonials, realize what's possible. We're going into a whole new era. And absolutely, this is an era in which all the old paradigms wash away entirely. It doesn't mean that simply we're going to be able to manifest, pepperoni pizzas on our hands immediately in front of us, if that's what we're craving. But yeah, you can manifest serious change in your life. You can become the controller of your life and take the reins for yourself.
Here we go. Think a happy thought. Okay, you guys, drink lots of water.
Yes, and definitely live your best life. Be the best you. You are your own controller. As always, thank you for being part of the family. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.